YouTube comments from a video titled, Medical System is About to Collapse. How to Save Yourself. Part 5.
At JanetMe7466 wrote,
I'm so thankful for these doctors and this channel. I am 70 and also see the decline in true care for the patient. I basically don't cooperate with Medicare wellness checks nor vaccines and just pray I live a little bit longer to enjoy my family and grandkids. It's getting harder to make a basic appointment that isn't a few weeks or a couple of months away. That to me is unnerving. My doctor left to go into dermatology because he didn't fit the mold of the family medical complex pushing drugs and vaccinations. I appreciate the comments and you all.
Ebranifer wrote,
It's clear when your DR office starts sending you notifications that are trying to get you to come in for everything from a physical to a follow-up to a vax. It feels very sales-y, and in my 50 years, they've never been this pushy.
As Sherald7104 wrote,
This is excellent advice. I know so many people who don't do any research themselves and just wait to see a physician. And some of these physicians, especially oncology, are all about the money.
As Sandy MacLean H1Z wrote,
As an Aussie, I think a lot of the trouble in your country is all the sugar and additives you have in your food. Teach your clients proper food and stop all the sugar drinks. No kid should be obese.
At R24all wrote,
Getting a hold of the docs via email and telephone apps. Did become easier. But via email, you cannot reply to any messages. You always have to write a new message. The message from the doc only has delete option.
At R24all wrote,
Precisely, it has collapsed. MDs are attending to the computer screens and the metrics/arrows on those screens, not to the patient. I skipped my annual this year. I am not looking to meeting new doc. I fired the last one. She was insufferable. Staying away.
At W, David Vine 9651 wrote,
Dead last were life a race, then, as for me, I'd prefer to finish last. With the longest time to finish. One who walked not ran. Who encouraged every runner blindly racing past. The prize is not at the finish line. The prize is who's dead last. W. Divine.
At little_threads_Grace wrote,
My GI doctor for TWO years couldn't figure out why food was sitting in my stomach for hours and coming back up. Told me it couldn't be gastroparesis because I didn't smoke weed, wasn't diabetic, and wasn't overweight. I had lost 100 pounds unintentionally at that point. She wanted to give me a PPI to make my digestion even slower. I healed myself by figuring out I had almost non-existent stomach acid. I have lost 160 pounds total, am malnourished and brittle, and have not been able to properly gain weight back. I am 15 pounds underweight. So much damage done to me that might be irreversible now. I do not trust doctors. All they know how to do is treat symptoms with pills at best and just give up on you if you're a complex case at worst.
At MB0314 wrote,
We do not have a clue how to use AI wisely. What the heck is it? Older folks are intimidated by it. We only know it's a fake. It's crazy. We should not have this for people that need correct information about our health. We are NOT in charge.
At JH115 wrote,
27:00 agreed, and medicine/media need to be honest about the value of meat and dairy. I know vegans and they are always ill, plus without supplements, it cannot even sustain life for more than a month or two. I'm post-meno and eat more meat 4 times a week and feel more energetic for it. Keep up the good work.
At Josephine7633 wrote,
Great transparent conversation, good summary. Of integrity and heart-centered chaps, thank you for speaking up. As we know, this scenario sadly mirrors all government systems that are collapsing all around us. As chaotic, difficult, and anti-human as the dismantling is, it is my hope that the discomfort forces humanity to see the corruption therein and start to demand change. Birthing a different model built on humanity, integrity, deep care for the people, and the courage to say no to anything that does not uphold these values. Let us make this so.
Torai Rose wrote.
Yep, that's good. Oh, we can save ourselves by realizing that we need to take responsibility for our own health. We are children. And our medical system is pretty much complete quackery. Worse, because it harms a lot of people. I'd argue way more than it helps. They feed off the vulnerable and complacent. Most of our ills they caused. They should have long integrated natural/alternative true healthcare a long time ago. Too busy feeding off their cash cows the sick, the poor, the aged, and other vulnerable and ignorant ones. I'm still alive, and I haven't been to one of them in 3 decades. No meds, no medicine cabinet, no checkups. After years, in my youth, of trusting them, allowing them to harm me per my misguided trust of white coats, I was forced to become my own doctor and learn all the ways to heal myself. And if I had something I couldn't heal, I still wouldn't go to them. I'd rather die, truly. In fact, that's what I told people when they asked me about taking that vile recent jab. And now that I see how many people's lives were taken or otherwise destroyed, yep, that was a very rational and intuitive decision. Entities that aren't willing to change, when it's blatantly obvious that they need to, then the universe kinda steps in and forces the issue collapse. We need to grow up and stop looking to fake gods. Note, they're all fake. We are the only rightful lords of our own lives.
At Alan Michelle 613 wrote.
The nails in the coffin. Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, the 1980s food pyramid, unsell keys, and the takeover of private practices at the hands of malpractice lawyers and insurance companies practicing medicine without a license.
At JH115 wrote.
1640, I remember those days well, when I was a child who had the usual minor ailments. Before I left the UK almost 5 years ago, it was 8 minutes max, and if you mention something that may likely have relevance, they say you have to make another 8 minutes appointment, despite it being 100% relevant to the issue you went in for. Love you guys.
At Khildafm42 LTK wrote.
I'm getting to the point where I despise having to go to the doctor. Because I'm on a minor dose of LDN, I was forced to go in to see my doctor in order to get a refill. Evidently, it's the law I go in due to my meager one prescription. It's money I don't have to spare going in that I could be spending on food or gasoline. They held my prescription unless I came in. I'm on 2-po in T5 mgs of naltrexone. There's no side effects from this low dose. Nothing makes sense to me about this, except for greed on the medical part of it.
At Khildafm42 LTK wrote.
I'm getting to the point where I despise having to go to the doctor. Because I'm on a minor dose of LDN, I was forced to go in to see my doctor in order to get a refill. Evidently, it's the law I go in due to my meager one prescription. It's money I don't have to spare going in that I could be spending on food or gasoline. They held my prescription unless I came in. I'm on 2-po in T5 mgs of naltrexone. There's no side effects from this low dose. Nothing makes sense to me about this, except for greed on the medical part of it.
At JH115 wrote.
220, so it's as bad as the UK system except you pay a lot of money for it. Priest Trump should empower Rand Paul to look into this. Assume RFK Jr. has enough on his plate. Worth dropping Rand Paul a line.
Ed Jakermans wrote.
I'm not a fan of pharmaceuticals. That said, they are necessary for many. Seniors are in a class of their own on that front. They have become money machines for the companies and are bankrupting Medicare. Such incredible margins between charges and cost. I have some hope for help if this administration can really reduce costs. The other issue is companies like BlackRock getting involved and draining the capital off the top. Honestly, grocery stores are surviving on about 2%. I'd love to know what the margin is for hospitals and practices.
Ed Jules Clay 2037 wrote.
I'm allergic to presentations that are billed as heralding a collapse of this or that. 10 years from now, there will be doctors, there will be hospitals, there will be treatments. Same thing with countries. There will be a Britain in 10 years, it won't collapse. So let's do without the nonsensical hyperbole.
Ed Dolphin Lover 4864 wrote.
Hello, DRs. I always look forward to seeing you all. Thank you for keeping us informed. That's why you're honest. I basically took charge of my health especially this year, since having gastro issues since my GB was removed 6 years ago. I do have an excellent DR that does listen and cares about me and what care I need. I've done a ton of research to get where I'm at today and the help of friends that give me excellent advice on supplements, and I've learned so much about these and take them every single day. They're helping me in every way I can imagine. My local health store has helped me also, and when I tell my DR what supplements and medical cannabis I take, she tells me it doesn't work. I know she's wrong. I've been taking MC for 6 years, and it is working. Trying to get me back on pills. I don't think so, never ever again. I highly recommend everyone to get off everything pharma and do natural. They do work. Why do you think the FDA hasn't okayed these supplements? They work, that's why. I'm living proof they work, and I'm happier today because of them. Thank you, DRS, for all you do. I wish all of you were my DRS.
At Talatholin 8553 wrote.
Don't get me started on OBSVVs. The payer will actually change the patient's status after the discharge. Explaining this to patient.
At Talatholin 8553 wrote.
I was an inpatient hospital coder for 30 plus years, and I saw many procedures denied for payment even though the patient had supporting diagnosis for the procedure. Over the years, I wrote hundreds of rebuttal letters to different payers for the hospital and patients. Hell, I had one payer to inform me that they did not have to follow any rules regarding payments. This case was for a TKR.
At Lindag 9975 wrote.
Insurance companies can be problematic. Medicare can be even worse. Government regulations are out of control too, causing doctors to have to play the role of administrators, satisfying rules and regulations. And frivolous lawsuits force doctors and hospitals to dot their I's and cross their T's on every single note. And government-sponsored healthcare in other countries causes months and years of waiting and also many denials. Another problem is the current health crisis due to wrong eating habits. This has raised the cost of insurance. You are right on about the metabolic health catastrophe. How can health insurance companies and governments possibly keep up with this?
Equeber 789 wrote.
We just went through the merry-go-round with my son's wife. Kidney stones were identified in April. After thousands of dollars in unexplainable tests, she finally got treatment yesterday, October.
At Janine Jones 6025 wrote.
Thank you so much for caring. I agree about taking more responsibility for our own health, but there was no discussion about people doing that who have had serious adverse effects after vaccination. No fault of their own and now having trouble getting the medical help they need?
At Linday 1116 wrote.
My 33-year-old daughter was just passed through the system for years. There was not a hospital/department she did not attend. In the end, she stopped getting offered appointments and has unwanted health, urticaria, painful fluid in her back, allergies through the roof. Even water is a struggle. They do not care.
At Gerard Fornwald wrote,
There is total chaos up here in Canada. The health bureaucracy, including the government and professional medical associations, have total control of the doctors and nurses. Much.
At Kathy Byerly 3343 wrote,
So fed up with answering questions also. And drawing the hands on the clock and gotta remember the 3 words, please just came to see the doctor. What does it all mean?
At Asmum0014 wrote,
I've had neuro issues post-viral syndrome for over a year. Finally see a neurologist in 2 months. Yep, took a year for an appointment.
At City Biscuits wrote,
Just as I am aging and beginning to have medical problems. We don't know whether to either enroll my husband in Medicare or not. He is closing in on 65 and beginning to need routine care. I'm afraid for what happens to elderly who are depending on Social Security and Medicare when we can't even count on either of them being solvent in the near future.
At Lorraine77 wrote,
Thank you, Jesus, is all I could say for DR like you. I thought I was going nuts. I had a bad experience actually going to a nutritionist. I thought I was doing the right thing. And she's asking me questions in sentence increments, and she didn't want me to speak, only answer the question. So when I did proceed to speak, she held her hand up and said, I am busy here on a computer. You will have to wait until I'm done. I was appalled. I sat there like a little schoolgirl child that just got bullied. And I thought I was doing a good thing moving over to a nutritionist doctor because the same scenario was in the doctor's office, gazing at the computer, tapping away, glancing at you every 5 seconds, or should I say for 5 seconds, until tapping away on their computer again. And I do not even know how many times they have to ask me if I'm allergic to a certain medication that's in their system, and I say no, I'm not allergic to that. That was a mistake. They just can't seem to erase things from their computers. I'm constantly being asked the same things over and over again and constantly correcting. But thank you, thank you, thank you. You are absolutely wonderful. Don't ever leave.
At Holshathunner 5544 wrote,
I have experienced this personally. Last year I was on Cosentyx. I was injured and went to a recovery center where the assistants, all from Nigeria, sort of forgot all about it. It was not reordered. I went cold turkey. I fun age not been able to refill it 11 months later. Collapsed? I am sitting here in pain, being eaten up by psoriatic arthritis, expecting, no hoping to die. Soon.
At Julie Ellis 6793 wrote,
God hand, this was a great discussion. Thanks to all 3 of you. DR, I haven't heard you talk about female hormones. I'm 81 in taking them. It's made a big difference in my health, even improving my thyroid. Do you ever work with female patients on it?
At Oneofftham 1070 wrote,
In my opinion, healthcare will be given only as prescribed by the digital healthcare system coming on board. Many people will die. Eugenics will be used for many. The world has gone insane. It cannot come back. I lived it. Born 77 years ago, and the best times cannot come back.
At Vinny9477 wrote,
It's self-love and greed these. A cold herd only sees self. A heart full of love sees all life as precious.
Azaxo VD3BG wrote,
You wouldn't believe how much money we spend on health insurance every month as a family. I'm about to say forget it. All this money on insurance, and we have the best insurance we can possibly get in the plans. And the medical system is garbage. It angers the crap out of me. Doctors/medical facilities are uninterested. They don't refer you to specialists because they're booked out 6 months or longer. where they always ask if my insurance is Medicare or Medicaid. They're negligent about going over your results. They don't care, they just don't give a flip. And everything they think you have. Let me rephrase. Everything they put is your file diagnosis without telling you. Yet tell you to your face there's nothing wrong. These file diagnoses have no cure, so what's the point? I have a way better chance of being healed by Jesus Christ and save money. And I'm not being funny.
As Sky Nebula 11 wrote,
I was a math/science teacher. I did retire, but I have been called back several times. I did cave 3 times, but I will no longer walk into any school. The environment is insane. My sanity is more important to me than a few dollars. Our entire country has declined during the past decade or more. I am pretty certain that Obamacare was the end of our health system.
At Oneofftham 1070 wrote,
Thank you guys so much for this video. I am 77 and things were so different years ago. Your doctor knew everything about you and spent the time needed to diagnose you. What I see now is each one has a small computer. As you try to talk to them, they are keying in any complaints and sending drug prescriptions to your pharmacist. I tell them repeatedly I just want a diagnosis and I do not want medicines. I ignore the Medicare system and their questions. When I was asked if I had guns, I said it's none of your business. Then I was asked how many times a week I had sex. I told my doctor off. He then asked if I was depressed. Nope. Just angry. Don't ask me personal questions. I will tell a doctor what they must know. And I won't get the shots and x-rays at my age.
At Sailing with the Gods 538 wrote,
It's getting too expensive to get any kind of care. Even routine care is breaking people. It'll only get worse as the dollar's value plummets. Eating better foods, and less of them to maintain a healthy weight, will keep people out of the doctor's chair.
At Sarab 6475 wrote,
Why do you want to know what type of pets we have or where the smoke detector is? The smoke detector is on the wall. Where else would it be? And what if you don't have pets? I don't have pets, but I go see my horses every week. Are horses considered pets? What if you don't own them? George certainly thinks he is mine, but someone else owns him. I don't know who. My PCP's office answers the phone. They have 2 secretary that answers the phone and schedules appointments. They actually got me in the same day the last time I was there.
At Lady Wolverine 9 wrote,
As a person who has been living the nightmare of having a sudden, chronic, serious medical condition descend upon them, I can tell you that this medical system is a complete failure. We're required by law to have health insurance that refuses to cover care we need without appeals and appeals. Then after they cover their portion, you have to start considering bankruptcy. I'm now on disability, with private and state health insurance, and got a bill for $20,000 after insurance for testing that should have been done 7 months ago for my condition. I would have been better off without insurance.
At Sergila Capel 7992 wrote,
They slowly boiled doctors like frogs, one checkbox at a time. And then you got really screwed when they tied your paycheck to the checkboxes. At that point, the system had taken over. All the meanwhile, your professional associations were taken over by pharma. A hard place being a doctor today. I used to look up to the profession, not anymore. Your hands are so tied up, your usefulness has been greatly reduced.
At Chloe 8783 wrote,
I would love to see one of you docs to get my husband OFF meds he's been on for decades and have caused him harm. But he won't stop taking them because the doctors in our area won't deprescribe. They follow the CDC liars, the new BP recommendations, and just want to keep adding more meds. Thankfully, I've been able to keep him from taking them. Now we need to get OFF the crap drugs. Online docs are too expensive for us, which is why we are stuck with docs in our area. This system sucks and has for our entire lifetime.
At Eileen 1948 wrote,
ChatGPT has given me good advice re being dehydrated, eating styles, etc. I look forward to the day when AI will be giving the consultation. AI doesn't get irritated or impatient. Doesn't look at you and ask what do you want us to diagnose you with. And so on. A better patient-doctor relationship.
At Rodalina 8038 wrote,
I will no longer have a wellness visit. I think the questions/answers are data to be used/sold. I understand this data goes to the World Health Organization.
At Light Healer Astrid 1465 wrote,
And let's not forget Canada. I have had no doctor locally for 9 years. If I need any help requiring the doc actually seeing me, I have to spend the whole day traveling via long ferry ride and drive, dog daycare, etc. to see my old doctor. Either this or calling an ambulance for something extremely minor, then waiting in emergency for up to 9 hours.
At Arlen Didier 7766 wrote,
Same corruption in education, corporatization and computerization. We teachers are not allowed to teach as we have no time left after justifying the massive demand of an invalid system. 27. 13. We are forced to set up computerized teaching that negates quality instruction. We must create endless computer output to cover the asses of administration. Justify what and how you plan to tech lesson plans. Inform parents of what you intend to do even though they can't understand and / or don't care. Time is eaten by doing unless testing and evaluations, not receiving valid evaluation by professionals. 25. 37.
At Doug Gauzy 6258 wrote,
Insurance is high because doctors gouge the insurance providers. This is especially true when you have good insurance coverage. Completely unnecessary tests and etc. Mercy is a thief. They control the market, so they want their money. Specialized medicine and too many hands in the fire. The patient gets screwed over and it's the doctors and insurance providers doing it. They made things expensive, not the individual. If I could, I would never again see a doctor.
At Joe Cruz 1087 wrote,
Thank YOU, thank YOU, thank YOU. You three doctors are such an encouragement as you inform us and give practical input. It validates what some friends/family and myself have been thinking. Keep on keeping on.
At Jflower 7 wrote,
I must live in a unique area. We can always get in touch with our doctors, if not the same, say, within 2 days. Our doctors seem to always have access to our records. One of our doctors pushed the jab, the other one said it was our choice. Our insurance has always paid for anything we needed. Again, that may change in the future, but for now, all is okay. We are in our 70s. Our docs are in a Catholic system, may or may not be a factor.
At the First Manticore wrote,
I expect the healthcare system will change radically within the next parentheses 5 to parentheses 10 years, and it will be better. It will be interesting to see if I live that long, because I am getting on in years.
At DTA 97392 wrote,
I was recently hospitalized with a heart issue. I was seen by a cardiologist in the hospital. I was in there 3 days for observation. He recommended I leave hospital with a Zoll life vest. I agreed to do that and then follow up with a cardiologist. I was at the time doing PT for a shoulder injury. I specifically asked him if I could continue PT. He said yes. He left the room and I caught him at the nurse's station and asked him if I could drive. He said yes in front of 2 nurses. He never put this in his discharge notes. However, the hospital DR put in her notes, do not drive or do PT. I find this total incompetence on his part. He should be reprimanded. Your thoughts?
At Rosemary Whitney 4680 wrote,
Nobody reads any more. Go back to paper. No blue light interference. Stop treating symptoms and begin treating the cause. Starts with CDC and FDA. Allowing crap in our country for dollar.
At the First Manticore wrote,
I think that doctors now are reluctant to relieve pain. I can understand this, what with all the illegal drugs in use. But then what is the patient supposed to do? Some people are growing their own poppies. Of course, I have learned a wide range of modalities that do not require a doctor.
At Janet Clagett 7213 wrote,
Yep, the wellness app is ridiculous. I have to get an app just to get a referral. What a waste of money for me. AND now I got a Medical California Medicaid, card of which I have a shusser of cost of $1,730 to satisfy before Medi-Cal will pay. I also have Medicare. This absolutely crazy. What a big mess. I try to do everything naturally. Gosh.
At Julie EO6LG wrote,
I suffered with migraines. My HMO prescribed me a very high dosage of Imitrex. Side effects of drowsiness was about the same as a sleeping pill. I adjusted my dosage on my own because of that and also supplement it with Excedrin when they become cluster. I am able to control my migraines. Mind was shocked, double-checked the milligrams and just shrugged and said okay.
At Chocoholics who wrote,
I was scheduled for an MRI with contrast. I was given a sheet describing what it contained and I ran out the door. No way am I putting that in my body. Why do they put people at risk with something so toxic?
At Navy 80-04 wrote,
64 yo. 5-year strict carnivore now beef, real butter, Redmond salt, distilled water. 2-year keto first. 24 years in the military out of high school. I found out fast that you have to take charge of your health care, talking to the doctors. Retired out of the Navy 2004, ships most of military life. I used the military and VA healthcare system when I got out of the military. My health went downhill because of my lifestyle then. Healthcare was more check-off-the-box questions when talking to doctors. I took charge of my health because no one else cared about it. I let it slip away. YouTube doctors were my go-to for my problems, and I only went to the VA after one military doc just prescribed to me 9 different medicines to fix all of my problems, which it never did. Only my diet fixed it, and I am now off of them, all of the medicines, and 85 pounds lighter at 64. My primary care VDoc types on the computer the whole time she is in the room with me, does not agree on my lifestyle carnivore, or that I do not get vaccinated. Lately, it's just been I got the shot from VS or Walgreens, and that I'm just a low-carbohydrate eater. I lied to the doctor because I don't want to be confrontational in the office. I have given up trying to teach anyone else now. I just live my life and just eat beef I cook and look at all of the sickness around me and laugh to myself because everyone I've talked to, they don't want to change and give up sugar and junk food. It's too hard. They just take a pill and live with the problems. My wife also. She has to see the change in fixed my rheumatoid arthritis, fatty liver, pre-diabetic, acid reflux, fat, tired, snoring body I had. Since starting going to the gym this month, I have gained 10 pounds in muscle at 64 yo.
At Eileen Lemon 8379 wrote,
Retired RN, medical malpractice attorney here. What you are saying is so true. I witnessed the transition occurring over many years, all starting, in my opinion, when healthcare shifted to the for-profit model. instead of providing quality patient care to making a profit from that care. And electronic medical records. I have reviewed patient records from hundreds of different providers, and one is worse than the other. Another problem is that they are all different, with little ability for one system to communicate with other systems. Unless something has changed since I have been retired, but I rather doubt it.
At Julie Alexander D4N wrote,
It absolutely deserves to collapse because it's mostly worthless. I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia almost 6 years ago, and after the doctor told me I had it, I asked her what I should do for it. Her response was we just watch and wait. That's all. So I thought, to hell with that, and proceeded to research everything about CLL. I learned that I had a very indolent form mutated, with high smudge cell count, not the aggressive form unmutated with low smudge cells. That's why my lymphocyte count has stayed pretty low, and I've had no other symptoms since I was diagnosed. That, and using natural products like green tea extract, turmeric, ivermectin, and DMSO have all helped get my lymph count considerably below what it was at diagnosis. I haven't seen a doctor for 5 years now, because I don't need one. I'd rather take care of myself by getting my own blood tests. It's quick, cheap, and easy.
At John and Theresa 2459 wrote,
We found our DR in Alabama. He is part of Foundation Direct. Dr. Edward Williams, Spanish Fort Owl. We have been very happy with his method of care.
At Sharon North 8349 wrote,
I ran into the local pharmacy the other day to get a drink. Looked at back of store, and there was long pharmacy line. I told cashier, looked like a herd of animals waiting. He said, and you know what? Many of these people come in more than once a week. Unbelievable what doctors have done to gullible public.
At John Hale 5271 wrote,
Doctors only have themselves to blame. They sold themselves out to the health insurance companies back in the 70s by accepting assignment and becoming participating providers. The patient was removed from financial responsibility and don't feel they should pay anything for doctor visits. The expectation is all expenses for healthcare should be provided by the government or employers. There is nothing in the US Constitution that guarantees medical care, but it's too late to reverse the mindset.
At Robin Reagan 1702 wrote,
Competent office staff cannot be overlooked. Loved my doctor. His office staff was lacking in most ways. No hurry to get anything done, unable to prioritize. I now see an APRN in private practice with another APRN, competent staff, and receiving much better care.
At Gloria Giratnam 1653 wrote,
I'll always remember Sarah Palin mentioning death panels in future medical care, deciding who gets to live and who gets to die. I'm a boomer, and with our population bubble, this strikes close to home.
At Mark Buckley 56 wrote,
I gathered over 300 plus pages from 4 different healthcare centers I've been to in Minneapolis over 25 years. And it said nothing. Not searchable and not much crosstalk. I don't know who is more frustrated, doctors or us patients. God help us.
At Hinduism with Premanandas Bhagat wrote,
I remember reading an article decades ago from a retired doctor. He said he felt guilty. He had a nice house, couple cars, boat, etc., and all out of lies. He said in the article that he was a cardiologist, and many of them could have been healed or never shown up had they corrected their diet. Instead, he put them under the knife, gave them drugs, etc., and saw many die who likely might have lived. But his goal and the goal of his hospital was to make money. End of story.
Corden 1386 wrote,
Thank you, Doctor. The Canadian medical system is atrocious as well. Like veterinary clinics, Big Pharma has been incorporated under an umbrella system run by stock market entities. Gone are the days of do no harm in either professions, which now has taken and literally equated life to dollar. How sick this has all became. It is men like yourselves who bravely speak up and without apology speak of what the masses know and are suffering though. Thank you. Canada.
At Kathleen Grobe 5661 wrote,
We have consulted Google many times and found it gives some wrong answers. Could someone suggest a good, secure AI tool for healthcare? Also, it has been our experience that the best doctors have left the insurance system. They charge a yearly flat fee and give unlimited treatment for average yearly needs. They have a list of charges for other additional needs like surgeries and cosmetic procedures, etc. That is where we went for C0V1D treatments because they had their own pharmacy. Very effective.
At Home EF wrote,
I haven't seen a doctor for almost 4 years, and now I found one, and I'm honestly so frustrated with the nurses. They seem depressed, and the doctor, I don't know. I didn't feel like I should. I had my beloved doctor for many years, an awesome doctor, but I moved 2 hours away, and unfortunately, I can't see him anymore. If I only knew how difficult it would be to find someone like my previous doctor, I would never have moved.
At Debbiegan 7571 wrote,
Most docs are working on the clock. They have to see patients every 15 minutes. The system is broken. Hard to find a private practice doctor. They are strong-armed to join the big corporation or they get closed down. All about the money. What a shame. Waiting for AI to take over the entire system.
At Philadelphia Whiskey 1504 wrote,
Well, I don't use it, pay into it, nor trust it. I pay my doctor cash for services and use the rest of my resources to be as healthy as possible. Most sick and diseased people I know have not and do not take steps to be healthy. They refuse to exercise and eat whatever they desire.
At Lizette Reyes wrote,
Why I am educating women to learn how to become their own advocate. I got certified as a functional medicine health coach. There is no healing until people take responsibility of their self-care day to day. The medical system should be used for emergency purposes, not to treat symptoms that are a direct reflection of a lifestyle that contributes to it. Harsh truth: most of the issues can be reversed or minimized by making better choices.
At Barreron 5957 wrote,
The ads for TD, brought on by prescription drugs prescribed for manic depression and formerly psychotic states. Do head meds derange the gut microbiome? Is that why there's an explosion of ulcerative colitis? Stay tuned for further developments.
At Orlando Brook wrote,
Dr. Sunil mentions that the profession used to be noble, and I think that's what's been stolen from us at every turn. Our ability to pursue noble work, to do good things for PPL instead of being motivated by profit of others, always.
At EBT Evolution Basketballtra 9119 wrote,
Thanks Dr. Sunil for telling THE World about THE Truth. THE Medical, Pharma Industries are exterminating humanity. There is no trust in doctors that work for a hospital or a medical organization. ASITIS always THE same. Find what is wrong and medicate THE patient without curing HIS illness. Enough is enough. Time to change this horrible truth.
At Spsman 4998 wrote,
Sadly, at age 80 have decided that dying is far better than trapped in a medical system controlled by idiot doctors who really could care less about me. Medicine is an ART form requiring diagnostic abilities, a lost art, beyond computer readouts and 15-minute office visits. System is beyond broken. It has crashed and burned.
At Barreron 5957 wrote,
Remember, the insurance industry is first and foremost a profit-driven industry. In the end, their concern for the insurers is merely expedience wearing a long white dress. And the pharmaceutical business to me seems to have been corrupted by hedge funds and the dreadful television advertising. This program, this news hour brought to you by Pfizer.
At Rostemple wrote,
Some difficulty with insurance. They have a robot answering the phones, and then if they don't have an answer for you, they transfer you 100x. Don't even get me started on how the hospitals are kicking patients out when they are not medically ready to leave.
At Christopher's 2798 wrote,
How about the question, do you have guns in your house? I said it's none of your business. When my doctor's office asked me that in 2017, I thought this is going in the wrong direction.
At CHK 6111 wrote,
I worked as a hospital RN here in 1983 to 1993. Medical records were paper. Doctor of medicines either wrote their own notes or verbally dictated exam findings. Medical transcriptionists produced an office note. No laptop or computer was present during a doctor of medicine visit when a thorough physical exam with a complete review of systems was performed while talking with and listening to the patient. 12 years ago, I obtained a copy of my medical records from Mass General and was shocked at how difficult it was to decipher the copious pages of digital information my medical history. Now 64, I take no prescription meds, have no interest in unnecessary surveillance or invasive testing, will decline copious vaccines given simultaneously, and definitely no mRNA pharma products. My goal is to avoid becoming a patient as long as possible. Medicine and healthcare was much, much better before the corporate takeover, greedy insurance companies running the show, ruining patient care, and the sad end of private practice. Kudos again to these three amazing, caring doctors for taking the time to tell the truth.
At Cynthiap 1927 wrote,
I thought the Medicare wellness exam was free and that they would care about health. Got a big bill. No one said anything. It was because I spoke up about two minor things during the wellness visit.
At Point Shelf Coaching 8474 wrote,
I just had a client have to wait over 4 hours to get into cardiology. His symptoms were enough to go to and I did ask for him to do that. But the primary did tests to rule out clots and told family to go to cardiologist, but they couldn't get in for over 4 weeks. He was wheezing with sudden onset of bilateral severe edema both legs. He was admitted immediately to hospital when he finally got to cardiologist. Pericardial effusion, they had catheterization to drain fluid. In hospital for a week. Geez Louise, he could have died from waiting for treatment.
At K Grace 5250 wrote,
I had a great doctor for many years, then scamdemic happened and he would only do phone call apt. Until the middle of 2022, then they still had plenty of staff, office manger, ect. 2 doctors on staff. Then in summer of 2023, everything changed in that office. 1 doctor left, and my doctor was having to work in 2 different offices. He was overworked, staff was cutting down. I needed a surgery, and it took me over a year to see one. I could no longer call my doctor's office for a apt. They got in new guideline and policies. Things started falling through the cracks. You had to call a third-party number outside of the health system that office was on, having to wait 2 to 3 months to get a apt. Telling you if you can't wait just to the nearest ER. Well, the one at the hospital close by my house. Don't even have a ER doctor at all. They using interim doctors and NP running like a doctor's office. Having to sit in the waiting rooms for 5 hours to get seen. When you leave the paperwork says make a apt with your CR doctor within a week for this issue. Call the third-party apt office. Get the runaround to get a apt. I am a senior, 68, can't seem to get any help for medical issues. So I just suffer in silence. I have had it. We don't have a healthcare system, no preventative care. When you do get to see a specialist, they don't want to answer any questions. The apt is so rushed, you are lucky if they are in the room with you 5 minutes and they got their hand on the doorknob, trying to get out the door while you are asking a question. It's awful. I am so disappointed in the American sick care system, where you eat treated like product, not even a sick human, just a number. There is a shortage of specialists. They all are short of staff, but won't hire any more. If I had the money, I would just go to a natural healing doctor. But the issue with that is having to pay for all your tests out of pocket. Living single on my SS check, I can't do that because of the food prices that keep going up. I try to buy real food, not the fake food in the stores. I try not buy anything with sugar in it, no processed food. I only eat whole foods. I eat raw food, fruits and veggies. I fix myself, only grass-fed beef, organic chicken and pasture-raised and fed eggs. I do only Greek plain yogurt with walnuts and blueberries, blackberries. I eat wild-caught salmon. Trump just made a statement about retired seniors going back to work. That's crazy. There are no jobs for seniors. I am 68, have a damaged sciatic nerves, and can't stand on cement floors all day. I feel like the seniors in this country are getting a very bad deal. Right now, it's a full-time job just trying to get the health care we need and finding real food to buy and cook to eat every day. I am sick of all the GMO produce and veg and bioengineered crap to eat. How can we even get healthy with all of the food being mostly fake, full of bad salt and sugars? It's like the gov wants us sick, tired all the time from lack of nutritious food, low energy and weak and frail. So how are seniors going to be able to work all week? I know I can't. I think they want all the seniors to die early cause don't want none of us getting our SS money anymore. They've been stealing monies out of it since right after it started back before WW2. Even Preece Johnson took billions out of it to pay for the Vietnam War. In the 1960s, said the gov would pay it back, but they never did.
As Cynthia Simons wrote,
People who use the system have been complicit in what is happening, too. We gave insurance companies the power they have. Years ago, you had to pay for a doctor's visit, and it was a reasonable price, even if you didn't have a whole lot of money. You had insurance for hospitalization. That was it. Increasingly, people wanted to go to the doctor and not pay anything. This is rational, of course, but in doing that we also stopped asking what things cost, because insurance pays. In the process, we contributed to a system in which insurance companies could increasingly drive prices up and control what doctors did. In addition to that, people run to sue doctors at the drop of a hat, because they can. It used to be that for a kid growing up, becoming a doctor was one of the best professions one could choose. Who would want to be one now?
At Regina Clark 7569 wrote,
I'm a mom. I have a 12-year-old that has been a victim of this system. We've just picked up our lives and moved to hopefully get better healthcare for her. It really is scary.
At Karen Rosa 2477 wrote,
I should not have to take off 3 days from work to get a PAP, mammogram, and annual exam, just so you can squeeze billing opportunities from me. Too much time off work gets people fired. This can all be done in one appointment, and this used to be the standard.
At Annoyed 56 wrote,
As a Medicare patient of Kaiser, the wellness visit consists of the questions as you described, and we aren't allowed to talk to the primary care about any concern or symptom one may be experiencing. You are instead required to make another appointment to discuss such for which you will be charged a copayment. Additionally, there is no actual physical exam performed. Only a quick look in your mouth, ears and eyes and a listen to your heart and lungs.
At Point Shelf Coaching 8474 wrote,
I don't want these large systems getting my health info and sharing it across systems. And they do that without permission. Privacy is a joke. Arca HIPAA has no utility.
At a tour 7320 wrote,
The nurses in my hospital system are currently trying to unionize, both to protect ourselves and to give our patients safer, better care. The hospital system has spent more money fighting the formation of a union than any other hospital system in the United States ever. The millions and millions they have spent trying to keep us from forming a fair union could have been spent on hiring more nurses, providing more security, adding new diagnostic equipment, and improving patient outcomes. But they thought paying union busters between $400 and $700 an hour and forcing us to go listen to them try to scare us off was a better use of money. Oh, and multiple SEERs make seven-figure salaries plus bonuses, but our nurse pay is almost the lowest in the country.
At Susan Bittner I8N wrote,
With God's help, perhaps the medical field can get it together. As a nurse, I need to have hope that things get better. I thank God every day I have some knowledge about nursing and patient care for myself and my family.
At Lynn Mile 22 wrote,
It's not just healthcare. The implementation in the US of computer records combined with our litigious culture. It's a nightmare in every industry. I keep saying, computers make my life easier. Computers make my life easier. However, I think computers have bogged down every system with their over-documentation. Don't get me started on email.
At Rebecca Peener 7357 wrote,
Exercise daily. Eat real food. Avoid sugar, junk, fast food. Take good vitamins, sleep, water, stress management. Keep strong with weights and stretch. Avoid alcohol. Avoid medicine unless absolutely needed.
At Brenda Smith J2U wrote,
Having SLE lupus with organ-involved damage and other health issues has been sheer hell to get real quality healthcare, especially if I need surgery. Giving me medicine I'm allergic to and other mistakes have nearly costed my life several times. I'm 61 years old. My husband, age 70, has also had medical mistakes that have costed his health.
At Rebecca Peener 7357 wrote,
RN here, ate some canned cheese and vomited very hard. Gave myself a hiatal hernia. Very painful. Went to DR, then DR gastro. Gave me Nexium? I didn't even pick up. I had to fix it myself. Manipulated vibration plate, slept on side and fixed it in a few days.
Slobodnik wrote,
I work in the industry and administration. The flip side of the conversation is that many hospitals, particularly smaller ones, are struggling financially. All of the annoying things they talked about, endless EMR clicks, limited time with patients, are simply the hospital trying to generate enough revenue to stay afloat. My conclusion after years in the business, for what it's worth, is that problems in healthcare are downstream from bigger problems. Inflation, lives without purpose, and #1, demographics. There's no way you can have a functional healthcare system with the birth rates we have in the US.
At Miriam Jewett 5438 wrote,
I am 65 and remember individual medical practices and have wanted out of the corporation for years now. Everything you guys speak about, I have experienced. Not that it is good, but am glad to know others have had bad experiences out there. I am not alone, but am in good company.
At Vinikashi wrote,
Exactly how doctors should be advising us. Hats off to all 3 doctors for their time and dedication. May God bless you and your families and guide you continually.
At Gerloff Nikki wrote,
There used to be someone whose majority free time was the health S&D wellness of children and actors in the FS Smiley. There were stay-at-home mothers. The economy is predictive. Even professional women tend to want time off of part-time if to devote to their kids, but they cannot. Some have nannies. Some don't. Some are single parents. I focus on women because if the physical reality of pregnancy, birth and breastfeeding of multiple children a few years apart, it is difficult to be a mom and a full-time work EG mom. Why will take their place? Dads help, but there is far less physiological demand and connection except for love and concern.
At Lynchafurl ZH Forgo wrote,
With Genius grants costing 100K, we will no longer be able to rely on doctors who don't speak English. Our local hospital has had a strike every few years for decades over patient/nurse ratios. I'm 69 and need a new hip, but I have no insurance. I was denied Medicare BC. I had Blue Cross at the time. It's okay. I grew up W/O healthcare. When we were sick, my dad knew a pharmacist. He was insured through the city. Recently, my liver and kidneys were shutting down due to my medicine. I had been on my 6/tech doctor, and they just passed on the prescription without review. And United Healthcare has been delinquent for decades. When I had them previously, they were supposed to reimburse for costs. Yeah, right. So I'm a health and nutrition nut. And when my hip gives out, I'm going home to the Lord. I've been hospitalized a few times in the last few years, and I'd rather go to a work camp in Siberia.